All right, hello and excuse me, immediate frog in my throat after saying that. Welcome.
Ugh.
It's a great way to start a stream. But hey, I at least I got audio going through. But hey, I at least so better than usual what I get here. How's everyone doing on this wonderful Tuesday, March the 1st, 2022? It's a crazy world out there, and it is just getting crazier.
That's for sure.
And it's weird because, like, I'm not even the one making it crazy. Or crazier. I've always had my baseline level of crazy. It's everyone else that's joining me for some reason.
I'm sure you're contributing in your own special way.
Okay, Professor is saying he can't hear you. Can you say a few lines? Saying he can't hear you. Can you say a few lines? Saying he can't hear you. Can you say a few lines?
Yes, or of course I expected Matthew to have audio problems at some point or another.
I heard you just fine.
And Thomas is mad at you, but that's not a surprise.
What did I do? What did I do this time? Yeah, Professor, I would have been echoing because I had temporarily unmuted my audio source over here, and it would have been coming over. I use the same browser for John and for YouTube. So if you hear anything on YouTube, you're going to hear, yeah, it just gets echoed. But the point is, I heard John, and that means you're messing with me. Easy to do. Anyways, hi to everyone in the chat. John DiMarco was here first with a lock and a broken heart. Okay.
Like I said, it wasn't my best work. I couldn't think of anything else, though.
I guess you're saying reunion, it's kind of like a broken heart, or just talking about maybe what we're going to see in the episode tonight.
That was the general idea.
Okay. 47 Yorktown was here with a dolphin emoji. Yes, Darwin, just 2 more episodes. And you know what? He's not in this episode.
Terrible.
Just the worst. Professor Brainy Specs, how are you doing tonight? I saw you said you got fired. What happened?
It was kind of a good firing this time, I believe.
Yeah? From the library? Did you make someone mad?
It wasn't exactly the library. But I think he has some other details in the chat.
Okay, I'll scroll on and see it. But was it Conti then? Did Continuum? I'll see. Let's see. Dolphin Boy is still the co-host to John. That's right. This may be my channel, but I am definitely the co-host. John is definitely the one keeping this together. Let's see. Thomas Potts is here. How you doing, Thomas? Scroll down. I'm trying to see why or what Professor got fired from. Thanks, John. Matthew should be fired for writing that State of the Union. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, actually. Was it... How long was the State of the Union? It seems like it's over earlier than it has been in years past.
Well, I don't know. I didn't watch it. I was too busy watching a different speech.
Which speech was that?
The State of the Cardassian Union.
Oh, I did see you posted that video. Nicely timed. And would it surprise you to know I didn't make the connection?
It does not surprise me in the slightest.
but now that you told me that, I'm like, oh, that's clever. Well done. Well done there.
Thanks.
Thomas is technically saying that, or claiming, excuse me, not technically. Thomas is claiming that Jeff punched his boss. I don't think that's what it was. Why do I sound like Jean-Luc? Do I? I don't think. I think I do. My audio weird? I think Jeff is just messing with us tonight.
Well, to me, you don't sound any weirder than usual. I don't know about on YouTube, though.
Yeah, I think Jeff is messing. First claiming he can't hear you, and now saying that I sound like Jean-Luc. I think you're messing with me. Let's see. Professor Brainy Specs is saying, I made Salty read just before he closed up his stream that Star Trek First Contact is the mostest, awesomest movie ever. And because of that, Salty fired me. Okay. Well, I'm glad you didn't get fired for real. Give me a little heart attack there, Jeff. Thank you. Guys. Let's see. Josh Street saying, Matthew is finishing making his bed on the couch for riding the bad State of Union and for being late to every family event. I am pretty much late to every family event. But it's okay. The rest of my family is too most of the time.
Well, whose fault is that?
All of us. We're just horrible people for being on time. Except for Amy. Amy is... It doesn't surprise me when I'm saying this. Amy is extremely good about arriving to places on time. Even 3 kids later, that woman is fantastic at getting out the door on time. Because that's how she relaxes. If we're late, it's extremely stressful. So she's like, no, we are going to leave and get there either exactly on time or more preferably a few minutes early. Excuse me. Now, Thomas is saying that I'm ruining baseball for him. This is false. He's saying I'm coming in robotic? Hold on. Let me mute it so that you guys won't hear John for a second, but neither will you hear me echoing endlessly. Nope, I sound, well, not fantastic. But I definitely don't sound robotic. Although now I got it again. So there's a little roboticness for you.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so Thomas, the baseball thing, what the heck is going on there? I saw you've dropped over in Discord that, they're not doing any of the opening season games? What the heck? I can't believe it, but I actually have an opinion in sports about something. And that, let's see. Yeah, regular season games canceled in 2022. How much of the season is that taking out? Like, am I just not understanding that regular season games are a very small ordeal? That seems like... When I hear regular season, I hear this is when the regular season is, and it's when most of the baseball games occur. Like, does that mean they're just skipping straight to the playoffs? Because that, I don't know, that makes me really upset.
No, I haven't really been following it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I only know because Thomas made that tweet, or not tweet, the comment over in Discord. But no, that's not my fault. I have nothing to do with Major League Baseball, though I do very much want to try and convince my church group to catch a baseball game. Like, I think it'd be really cool if the dads went out, brought their kids with them, and caught a baseball game. And you know, wives are invited, but it seems like, at least in my group, the wives aren't super interested in that sort of thing. So maybe the wives can do something more fun for them while the dads take care of the kids for the evening. I think that'd be pretty fun. A professor is saying that there's 162 games for each team. Are you talking about like in the regular season? I think so.
Yeah, that's the length. That's the length of a normal season.
Okay, and then the Major League Baseball commissioner smiled just before he announced it. Not many games, like 5 or 6, but could be more. What is going on? That's just so insane to me. Bradley's saying my voice does sound a tiny bit robotic. I listen to it. It's not. I don't hear anything weird on my end. So maybe that's just. How my voice sounds tonight. I do have a little, like, stuffy nose. Maybe that's it. And no, Thomas, Amy did not tell me anything from Salty Stream, except She didn't accept this one thing, so I guess she did. She told me that... No, these sentences make sense in my brain before they get out. And most of the time, I can't even tell that they don't sound right after they get out. But she didn't tell me anything except that she was causing trouble. I don't know what she was doing over there to cause trouble, but I'm sure Salty deserved it.
I have no doubt.
And Darren Wagner, how are you doing? This is like a series made for you, Darren. It's SeaQuest, Life Under the Sea. On a giant submarine. But hey, I'm glad you're here. I haven't seen you in forever, man. And Mercer Crate, how you doing tonight? So,
yes, welcome everyone.
Yeah, and wow, sorry, I got really distracted by that Major League Baseball thing. Maybe after the stream is over, if I have some energy left, I might play some of the flashback game and talk about that, because I got feelings about it. I can't believe it. I actually have feelings about something sports related beyond being ambivalent. Is ambivalent a feeling? I feel like it should be.
I suppose.
I mean, ambivalence is technically not feeling something. I gotta think about that one. It's true, Thomas. If I streamed more, I would see you more. And I need to. I definitely need to, because I actually got notification today from my work that in the next week or two, everything's gonna just go crazy. They're gonna have all the equipment arriving, and they're gonna want everything programmed really fast. So I may not be able to do anything in a week or two. So I definitely should have some fun before then. Professor saying, John, mute Life with Jean-Luc. Him sounding like Picard is insane.
If only I could do that.
I swear, I'm listening over here on YouTube, and I am not hearing that which you claim I am saying. I mean, let me check one more time here. I'm talking. Sorry, I stopped talking because I can hear myself, and I think it's rude to talk over myself, apparently. No, it sounds fine. It sounds absolutely fine. I think... yeah, maybe the stuff he knows had me sounding just a little bit different. It's what I get. It's what I get for doing a bike ride in Texas. You wouldn't think there'd be that many pollens, but man, there are a lot. Darren is pointing out that being ambivalent means you have mixed feelings about something. Is that it? Okay. I thought it was more like...
yeah.
Like, I just have no feelings about the matter. I couldn't care one way or the other. I'm really ambivalent. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I was completely wrong about that. Yeah, having feelings both for and against a proposed action. Okay. Well, I'm completely wrong about that.
You're off to a great start on this whole ambivalent subject.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why people come here, right? They don't want to see... They don't want to see SeaQuest. They want to hear me being wrong about everything I say.
Well, a little bit of both, I think.
Oh gosh. So guys, here is how this is going to work. I'm pretty sure you know it, but just on the off chance this is like one of your first times on these streams. Sorry, as always. But I just dropped a link over in the chat. Click on this link. I got it pinned at the top, and as long as this stream is going on, you can come to my screening room. And then all this does is it syncs up my watch time with your watch time, so that we can all see this together instead of going over to peacocktv.com right now and trying to do a countdown, and we hit the play button, and hopefully we all do it at the same time, and hopefully everything syncs up, and if I have to pause, well, then we're all just jumping around. It's a mess. It is a hot mess. So what we do, you can come here, everything syncs up, and it's just beautiful. If by any chance you can't come here right now, you're off in the field doing something, you're in the future, go to peacocktv.com. PeacockTV.com is the place you want to go to be able to watch SeaQuest all 3 seasons for free. Along with, they got other series up there. I still don't get their business model, but I like it. I'll take another streaming service that I don't have to pay anything for. Yes, please. If you can't do that, you don't want to sign up for another streaming service, even if it's free, go to Amazon. Go to eBay. You can get all 3 seasons for a pretty good price. I think I saw the Blu-ray for like $50. It was out of stock last time I looked, but I mean, it's a pretty fair price. If you don't want to do that, you don't want to open up on a tab, you're on your cell phone, whatever, we got you covered for that too. Every 3 to 5 seconds, a still image is going to appear right below us. And hopefully, I've set up my sound correctly today so that you don't hear me watching it. Which, I mean, that's a hard bar for me to pass. But hopefully I got it right. So will be no sound. It's just, there's a still image so that you have a reference point whenever I stop rambling about whatever gets me distracted and come back to talk about what's actually going on in this episode of SeaQuest. And Mercer's saying, you're going to leave and won't come back. What? You don't need to leave. Even if Josh asked you to, you don't need to leave.
I didn't see anybody ask him to leave, so I'm not sure what he's referring to.
So we are going to get started. Mercer, don't leave. Don't leave. I'm assuming you're just giving your hearts a hard time. I hope you're giving your hearts a hard time. So we are going to get started. If you're in the future, you want to try your best to sync it up, I'll give a quick 3 count, then I'll hit the play button, and we will get all this going. So here we go. Hit that play button in 3, 2, 1, and play. And yeah, I know I put my whole hand down before I finished the count, because, what, I'm going to do things right? I don't think so.
Nah.
So they're headed off to some colony, I believe is Tartarus.
Yes.
Maybe a bit on the nose with that naming there.
Maybe.
But it means that Ford and Jellicoe, I should probably practice because I'm supposed to do a game night if on next week I mess all the names up. But I won't. Jellicoe need to get into the fancy clothes because something about this colony. So he's gathered up, it looks like the senior bridge members, but apparently they've been under complete radio silence from the moment they picked up these latest civilian passengers that they've been escorting. And it's because they've been transporting some ambassadors and they didn't want any sort of news leaking out. Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but at the same time, you would think they would have any sort of communications leaving the ship being scrutinized. Severely scrutinized. Like, I just don't feel like a military vessel allows everyone to have a cell phone and call up mommy and daddy whenever they want to, you know?
True, although I do remember one time, I think it was back in the first season, where somehow information got off the boat and there was this big investigation. It was one of the episodes with the psychics.
Yes. Except, did they make all that up? They were just trying to escape?
Well, I think they revealed at the end of that episode that the doctor was talking to some colleague of hers and it got out that way.
True. Mercer, yes, that is, in fact, I believe Michael Ironsides is his name, the actor's name.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then the show gives a sad trombone right here. Michael Ironsides, Captain Jellicoe, was giving this big speech about how, yes, once they're done escorting the ambassadors around, it's a tropical paradise here, and people are going to get shore leave, and best of all, it's a duty-free port, which, I mean, almost every port has some duty-free section in it, it seems like. But anyways, it's a duty-free port, and all you have to do is make it through the boring ambassador speeches. And right then, the ambassador walks up right behind him And he plays it off well. He's very polite about it, but definitely gives Jellicoe a hard time for his comments. He's like, once we get landside, I'd hope that you can join me for a cup of coffee to be able to stay awake for all those boring ambassador speeches. And then it does the SeaQuest tune, but devolves into like a sad trombone, wah 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 in the middle. So we find out that the island of Tartarus is a penal colony, that they force their criminals to actually serve hard labor. And apparently not just their own criminals, but people from around the world ship their criminals to them, so that way they get some money back and they don't have to, fund for the housing of the criminals while they pay off their debt to society. And then we see that Mason is there. Freeman.
Well, Mason Freeman to be exact.
Oh, wow. I should have just stuck with it. And for some reason, Lonnie can come up and talk to this prisoner, and the prison guards don't really seem to care about it. But he says, quick, I need you to just get the message out. I don't belong here. And it turns out the guy's name is Jason, and he was the first guy that Lonnie ever really loved. And of course, like everyone else, he is totally innocent. Doesn't deserve to be here. And hey, Robert Rose Jr., how you doing tonight?
Hello.
And Thomas, I do agree. I don't think it makes sense for criminals to, well, I wouldn't say living in luxury, but at the same time, I don't think it makes sense for them to just be sitting there. Like, okay, you have to have so much physical activity per day. And then it's like, okay, here's your jail cell. I feel like that is one, makes no sense that they're just sitting there. But two, I feel like that's not actually good for them. I feel like that creates a system that incentivizes people to lose skills they already have. But of course, Lewis is able to hack into the computers, and he finds out that Tartarus is kind of a slave colony. Not just a penal colony, but they seem like they intentionally get people arrested, perhaps. That they want the physical labor that they can use, to make money off them. Now, it's interesting because in the States, there was a time when prisons were for profit, and, well, I guess technically a lot of them still are. But there's a time when they were both for profit and they actually had the inmates performing labor. And from what I recall, there were some instances where that system was abused. And so, I mean, there is a concern with making sure that prisoners aren't incarcerated for longer than they should be. Yeah, Josh, the chain gangs. But I also think that, honestly, prison sentences are too long most of the time. And I think that we penalize and penalize individuals for crimes that, frankly, shouldn't be crimes at all. Like the war on drugs. But Lonnie comes to confront the ambassador. And, you know, at first when I watched this, I thought this ambassador was the Tartarus ambassador. But no, this is the UEO ambassador to Tartarus, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So she confronts him, and it's, you know, saying, why does UEO want to open relations with them? Why are we trying to be buddy-buddy with them? Don't you know that there's UEO citizens here right now? And the ambassador says, well, you're talking about Jason. Well, I actually reviewed his file. And Lonnie's, what do you mean you reviewed his file? How could you possibly know that he was here? How could you possibly have time to have reviewed this file? And Lonnie's saying, look, the only reason we want the UAO even wants to be with Tartarus is because there are products here that are, the construction of which are so toxic that we legally can't make them in the UEO. So we want to be buddy-buddy with Tartarus because they're not technically UEO, and so they can do all this toxic stuff that is illegal for us to do. Which, again, I mean, that's some good commentary against the states, where, I mean, we've sent a lot of our industry work to places like China. Because, you know, they have more lax EPA. They don't, EPA isn't a thing over there. They have more lax air quality control standards. And it's a big issue. Like, if you ever go over to China and you try to visit, like, the Great Wall or something, there's just horrible smog. And interestingly, here in the States, there are EPA standards that are harsher on chemicals you're allowed to pollute into the atmosphere than the OSHA standards are. And so what the building will do is they'll have all the exhaust go into the building up to OSHA standards, and then that pollution will slowly leak out of the building to meet EPA standards. So it's not that they're polluting any less, it's just that the people are being exposed to it who work there so that it meets EPA standards.
Meanwhile, back in SeaQuest, Ford is talking about how he thinks that Henderson is overreacting based on the time that she was held prisoner in Micronesia.
Which was, I think that was last season?
No, it was earlier this season.
Wow, it just feels like last season because I'm so bad about doing this every week. And Ford points out that there's a strong reason why she would feel stressed out by this. Because she wasn't just held captive in Micronesia, she was about to be executed. They just wanted to make UEO look bad.
And 2 people died in the process of, getting her out of there.
Thomas, wait, they want to have an open relationship with Tartarus. With Tartarus. Not with the long-haired guy. And Lonnie dropping some truth bombs over here, saying that he was the first guy she ever loved, the Jason guy. Went to prom with him, first prom she ever went to, and there's a time that she loved him as much as she loves Ford now. And Ford is saying he agrees that he belongs to be locked up. He looked at the file, and by all accounts, it looks like he tried to get away with something in an area that he shouldn't have tried to get away with it in. And apparently she's planning on just walking in to a prison. Like, I guess since the entire island is a penal colony, it's hard to be like, okay, this is the official prison. But this looks like an extremely restricted area that she's just going to yada 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 her way into. Joshua is saying, Matthew, isn't this an episode who the USA sent the toxic jobs to China in the 90s? Well, are you saying... I'm not sure I follow that sentence, Josh. Are you saying that it's supposed to be kind of a commentary on the fact that the US sent toxic jobs to China? In which case, I mean, I would say it seems that way. Tom is saying America created that smog in China. Well, I think we certainly had a hand in it. The whole world has unfortunately turned China into its laboratory, sure, Rona, but kind of industrial zone. So Lonnie's pulling Jason aside, and she just wants to know that he's telling the truth. She says, promise me you're telling me the truth. And he doesn't. He says, you know me. And there's Mason again. Which, unfortunately, I feel like this is just because the order that Peacock has it up doesn't seem to match up with the production order. Or definitely doesn't match up with the production order. But this would have been a lot more of a big reveal if we hadn't seen Mason for the past 6 episodes.
Yeah, doing that last episode out of order really messed up, a lot of other stuff in this season.
I mean, can you imagine if that was the last episode we watched? It was like, wait, what is Mason doing in jail? When did he get in jail? But unfortunately, no sooner does Lonnie get out than it seems like there's a prisoner escape. So Piccolo tries to get a hold of SeaQuest, and Lonnie says, oh, he gets static. So Lonnie tries to get her communicator, and it's gone. And Lewis says the control collars they were wearing are radio controlled. So if someone knew what they were doing, they could have used the SeaQuest communicator to bypass it and get out. So Lonnie's like, crap. It was probably Mason when he bumped into her. See, Thomas Potts is saying that John DiMarco apparently agreed to return to Futurama. I did hear that. I think that's pretty gutsy of him. I don't see how Bender can really work in modern society. I mean, his whole thing was kind of being crass. I mean, I don't see how Futurama could do the Femputer episode at all anymore. I'm with you, Professor. I kind of would have preferred they hadn't brought Futurama back. And honestly, I kind of prefer they wouldn't have even brought it back at Comedy Central, I think it was, for those 4 movie episodes they did. So SeaQuest is going to hail the transport that has all the escaped prisoners on it, as they hopefully find out if... Well, I mean, they know Mason's on there, but they want to find out if Jason is on there. And no, Thomas, I don't hate Futurama. I love the original run of Futurama. And I feel like when they brought it back, it just lacked that charm that it had in the original run. And they kind of had the mindset of, oh, hey, we're not on Fox anymore, so we can really push the envelope now. And I felt like it was less creative, kind of more predictable. Now, unfortunately, aboard the prisoner escape sub, we see that they have lesions all over their arms. That it's some sort of disease associated with a specific chemical. That half the people aboard this sub are suffering from this because the Tartarus, they're not just using chemicals that would be outlawed in the UEO, they're using them at levels that are outlawed even within Tartarus. Like it's a global law or something, it sounds like. Thomas, hey Matthew, I can't remember. What does Bender tell people to bite? His shiny metal backside, although that last word isn't the one he chooses to use. Robert, have I seen Cool Hand Luke? I don't think I have. He says a great movie about unjust imprisonment. Didn't The Simpsons do an episode, kind of a parody of it, where Burns went into jail? I have seen the Shawshank Redemption, which is also kind of along the same it's completely along the same lines of unjust imprisonment and the abuse that aroused. I don't know, man. I don't know why I'm even trying to talk right now. That arised from a for-profit prison just going full on corrupt. Josh was saying it was a Family Guy episode. I could have sworn there was an episode of The Simpsons. Burns went to prison. So the ambassador wants to know, does the SeaQuest know where this escape sub is? They want to have the exact location of it so that they can pass along to Tartarus. Because, they're in Tartarus waters. These are Tartarus prisoners. If they know where they are, we need to tell Tartarus. And I guess they also have some sort of extradition treaty with them. Bradley, I wish it was vodka in there. Are you allowed to like vodka right now? I mean, I buy vodka made in Texas. But it's such a Russian drink. Still, I wish it was, but unfortunately, no. I'm trying to be healthier. Especially since on Friday nights I tend not to be healthy with movie night. Now, for some reason, as soon as they transmit the coordinates of the sub over, the Tartarus people just open fire. Like, they're not even trying to take them alive. And UEO really doesn't have a leg to stand on. They're in foreign waters.
Mm-hmm.
It is only by the good graces of Tartarus that they're allowed to be here at all right now.
I suppose it's really the UEO's fault that the prison break happened in the first place.
There is that. Thomas, I don't believe Texas is southwest Russia. I'm pretty confident about that. It's more of a southwest Tennessee, if it's going to be anywhere. So the prisoners ram into this docking port as hard as they can, which I feel like would create leak issues, but it's the future. They've worked this out.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And they're now aboard the Osiris station. It is an international scientific station. And this was always the destination, apparently, with Mason. Because he knew that once he got here, he could quickly take these scientists prisoners. Since it is international, it is somehow under the UEO jurisdiction, so now they actually have kind of a bigger bargaining chip. The Tartars can't just, blow them up willy-nilly. Now, previously, we had seen Freeman as being kind of a cool operator, very methodical, very intelligent in what way he did things. And maybe he's just been backed into a corner for this episode. He sees no recourse except, going kind of crazy here. So Jellicoe calls back up the Tartarus captain. He's like, nope, you're going to break off your attack now. This is not a request. This is an order. The same way the captain was telling Jellicoe, thank you for your input, but I'm going to try and blow him up anyway. Now he's responding in the same kind, nope, now you're going to listen to what I say. These people are under our jurisdiction and we are going to protect them. And Lonnie, bless her heart, she is trying so hard to be able to communicate with Jason through all this. She thinks that if she can just talk to him, she can get him to stand down. If she can just talk to him again, she can get all the prisoners released. So they call him up, and Jason actually answers the phone here. And he's saying that there's some prisoners here that need immediate medical attention. It's not that they've hurt them in any way. Wink. It's just that they're really old guys, and they're not taking well to the stress of the situation. So they're trying to say, look, we're going to let you guys come. We're going to let you get these people as a show of good faith, perhaps. But in return, you're going to do us two favors. The two people you're going to send over to pick up these sick people are going to be Lonnie and Louis Wallenchek. Because Lonnie is sympathetic to their cause, and Louis is a weakling. He says it nicer than that, but that's what he really means.
Well, Lucas has been trained by Darwin personally, so he better watch out.
They are very close friends. Now, Bradley, that is very true. Texas is such a big state, you do run into a lot of different types of people, depending on where you go. About an hour south of me, maybe an hour and a half, there's a great spot for getting, they call them, I'm not going to get the name right, it's Polish food. It's a Polish breakfast dish, kolache. There's a big Polish community down there, randomly in the middle of Texas. Obviously, a lot of Tennessee people. Unfortunately, getting to be a lot of Californian people. A lot of Spanish and Mexican people. Which are technically two different things, yes. Unfortunately, obviously, Mason had no intention of going quietly. They pop out. They just wanted 2 extra hostages. 2 extra high-quality hostages. Which, I mean, he is thinking a little bit about these things. It's just, I don't know. He just seems so indiscriminate to me in this episode. Josh is saying that Thomas didn't get his baseball fix, so he's going something crazy? Ah, okay, Thomas. It's because I said I drink Texan vodka, and vodka is Russian. There's the connection. There's a lot of different distilleries in Texas. There's Texas whiskey, Texas vodka. Lots of IPAs. I don't get the attraction with IPAs. So Mason lets his demands be known. He wants to be able to get out of there. And, Jellicoe's like, well, the things you want, they're going to take time. And Mason's like, oh, don't worry, I'll give you plenty of wiggle room. I'll kill the Nobel laureates last. So, not looking too great for Lonnie and Lewis. And Lonnie's calling Jason out. She's saying that you've lied to me about everything, and he's trying to justify himself. He's claiming that if he didn't go along with the plan, then Mason would have started to kill prisoners, and that all he's doing is doing his best to keep everyone alive. So Jason's making an interesting argument. He's claiming that they're just desperate to get out. That we've seen the sick people, so we know there's a grain of truth to that. And he's claiming that everything he's done since then is just him doing what he needs to do to get away. And Lonnie retorts with, okay, just tell me this. Who took my communicator? Was it you or Mason? And based on his response, it seems pretty obvious that he's the one who took her communicator. Thomas saying wrong, there's only Tennessee whiskey, it goes with the beans. Not true, not true.
So the ambassador is talking to Hudson. He says, "You don't like me much, do you?" And Hudson's like, "Nope."
Jellicoe's the best. So the ambassador is basically giving SeaQuest until the time he gets there to resolve the situation, or else he's going to relinquish the situation to Tartarus. Which is basically saying that he's going to sign their death warrants. Tartarus is just going to open fire the first chance they get. Which, I want to say, it was either an episode earlier in SeaQuest, or it was a TNG episode, where there were some people in a shuttlecraft trying to get away. The people were trying to blow them up because they didn't want the refugee story to get out. Does that ring any bells?
Sounds familiar. I'm trying to place it.
It may have been a SeaQuest episode. I mean, we know that happened a couple times. Back when, what was his name? The Cuban one. At least in the show.
Ortiz?
Ortiz, yeah.
Ortiz, yeah.
There's an episode when they went back to his homeland. and there are some refugees in
Right.
that case. This guy kind of looks like Kevin from The Office, but I'm pretty confident it's not. Delaney is... They've given her way too much free reign here. Mason is not managing his hostages very well. But what they want to do at this point is get all the people who have the lesions on them onto a different sub and try and get them over to the UEO so that once the UEO sees them, I mean, there's no way they can turn a blind eye to this. Which is very true. I mean, there's a lot you can turn a blind eye to when it's just rumor, and then you go, oh, well, I didn't know, I didn't see it. In fact, it's something the German people tried to do at the end of World War II. They claimed they just didn't know the horrors that were happening in Auschwitz. And I think that one of the generals there actually made the people in the town right next to it march through the camp. They'd have to be fully confronted with what they had turned a blind eye to. But I mean, it's easy to turn a blind eye like that, but once you see it right in front of you, can't really claim you just didn't know. Now, for some reason, Lonnie and Lewis don't get aboard.
I think the idea was they were out of room.
I guess. And see, this is where I feel like Mason gets a little un-Mason-like. He's saying that he's going to kill Lewis just so everyone knows that he's serious. I feel like the Mason we saw early in this season would be more methodical with what he did.
True, but I guess after being locked up for so long, maybe he's just desperate to get out too.
Perhaps. And I guess to be fair, he did just for the money walk up to what was his name?
Dion.
Dion, there we go. Walked up to Dion Industries guys and just shot him point blank. I mean, that wasn't very intelligent of him at that point.
No.
Thomas, kill Lewis? Well, there isn't one in the show, so who cares? Come on, don't you know Lewis by now? He's been in every single episode of SeaQuest. But with the emergency pod being jettisoned, they now have a point of entry that they can use to get into Osiris base. The Piccolo docks it real quick, and meanwhile, Jellicoe's keeping everyone keeping Mason distracted, saying that, hey, you know, you don't need to kill him. I'm willing to acquiesce to all of your demands. Josh, you don't know who Lewis is? He's the one with the gun being pointed to him right now. That guy, the blonde. Jason... Oh, what's his name in real life? Jonathan Brandis.
Jonathan Brandis.
Brandis. Oh, so close.
Yeah, you know, just missed one letter, I think.
So Lonnie has one last interaction with Jason at this point. This is the chance. Has it turned out that he's been innocent this whole time? Or is he really just the scum that his file says. And it turns out he's guilty. He confesses. Says, there's just one problem. I am guilty. Which means he really just robbed the store in like the worst place to do it. And she's able to get away from him, but, you know, unfortunately Ford drops his gun trying to help Lonnie. But Jason gets the beat on Ford, and Lonnie reacts quicker. She picks up the gun and shoots him. Josh is saying it's Lucas, not Lewis. I think you've been mishearing them, Josh. It's definitely Lewis. Hey, Robert. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Robert.
And of course, now that the situation is resolved, Tartarus is demanding the immediate release of their convicts. But it's time to wrap things up, so the ambassadors made a quick change of heart. Does he kind of look like Bono? Bono?
I suppose so.
And yeah, it turns out that a lot of them, even though Jason himself was full of crap, he was lying, it turns out that a lot of them actually were being held illegally on trumped up charges. Is that how you spell it, Thomas? I wouldn't know. So even though they were able to get most of the prisoners again, they were able to get the ones that were innocent and kind of start reviewing that process. Unfortunately, Mason somehow got out. No, it's not Bono that I'm thinking of. Also, his name is just Bono. Lead singer for U2. And Lonnie, she's kind of trying to process her emotions. What does it mean that the guy she was deeply in love with ended up being a pig? I said Bono. I'm not surprised. At least Lonnie's recognizing that while one guy she loved ended up being a bit of a jerk, at least Ford was willing to die for her.
Mm-hmm.
And Ford, he's doing his best to comfort her, kind of maybe think, hey, they've been gone for 10 years. There's that time jump. And during that time, Jason changed.
True.
And Lonnie's saying, no, I don't think he ever changed. I think that I was just tricked from him from the beginning. At least I didn't add an R to the end.
That's a relief.
Fair enough. And Lonnie's claiming that after last night, something broke inside of her. And she doesn't know how long it's going to take her, but just doesn't know if she can love again. Ever again. Ford says, just take your time. In the meantime, I can always be your friend, and we'll see where we go. Which, kind of weird. Is this another episode that aired out of order?
I don't think so.
Because we got a pretty strong episode of their love for each other back when there's that disease that everyone was sick with. They're trying to heal it real quick. It was the one where they went to the future. Wasn't the one where they went to the future?
Well, I think those are two different episodes. But yeah, this is supposed to be like after they've been together for a while. But now, because of what happened, now she's breaking up with him.
Okay.
Now we see Freeman making his escape across the ocean floor.
And he's singing Kumbaya. Just Kumbaya, Kumbaya, Kumbaya. Oh, Kumbaya. So never says Lord, just Kumbaya. Because you may remember an integral piece of Freeman's character is his devout religion. Or not? So that's, I believe that's the last little bit of the episode. John, what's your thoughts about this one?
I thought it was a decent episode. I probably wouldn't call it one of my favorites, but I thought it was interesting enough. And there was some commentary apparently about sending off the jobs that we can't do for various reasons to another country so they can do their dirty work for us.
Mm-hmm. I did think that was an interesting plot line. And I think it's one that a lot of Americans definitely don't ever think about. I mean, we talk about, oh, we need to do such a better job of taking care of our planet. And we need to make sure that we're replacing, our little wall chargers for our cell phones with high energy efficient ones. Because that's really the thing that's polluting the planet. Or cows. Oh my goodness, the cows, we gotta get rid of them. And it's like, do you not realize how much pollution that we've just shipped off to other nations? Like, if we really wanted to address the pollution problem, if you, from the bottom of your heart, believed that global warming was 100% man-made, then you would definitely be less concerned about the minuscule amount of pollution that we're doing and be more concerned about the fact that we've offset all our pollution to China, basically. But it's interesting, that never comes up.
Yeah, it became more about, well, not only the hostage situation, but Henderson and her relationship.
Yeah, see, that was one of the two downsides that this episode had for me. It didn't really gel with me that Lonnie was so hung up on a guy she dated in high school that she wanted to break up with Ford just because he ended up lying to her. It's like, I'm sorry. And I get it, not everyone operates logically all the time. I believe Kirk maybe once said it best when he says, Spock, the women on your planet are perfectly logical. That makes them unique in the known universe. So, I mean, yeah. Women, men, we don't always think logically. It just seems like that was such a weird departure for a character to be that hung up over a guy in high school. And it didn't seem like it was late in high school. It was just her first puppy love. Like, oh, I love you deeply. We went to prom together. It's like, well, you're a freshman, maybe? I can't think of anyone. Can't think of anyone I cared about to such an extent that at any point in my relationship with Amy when I was dating her, I would have gone, oh wow, because of this thing happened with this person that I just found out, I need to immediately break up with you.
Well, to be fair, you've never been forced to shoot your former girlfriend to save somebody, so I imagine that has some kind of effect.
Maybe. I mean,
At least,
you're
at least, at least about you have told us anyway.
that's true. You're right on all counts. Still, I don't know. That was such a weird plot point for me. And the other one, of course, being Mason. I kind of feel like this episode and his very brief appearance in what should have been like episode 6 or 7 really didn't gel with what we had seen before then. They just kind of made him mustache twirling instead of, hey, here's this guy who is extremely intelligent and extremely talented, and, you know, Ironsides beat him by the skin of his teeth the first time. Yeah, what is this, Babbling 5? Yep. Biz.
It did sound a little bit like that, Thomas, yes.
I probably did word it quite poorly, but yes, I was dating while I was with Amy. Specifically, I was dating Amy while I was with Amy. And this isn't me being coy. It's not like, oh yeah, there was a different Amy I was dating. No. It was the Amy that I ended up marrying. Was the only Amy I dated while dating Amy. But beyond that, I did like the episode. Like you said, John, it's not my favorite. I think it had 2 very good subjects that honestly I would have preferred to see it split into 2 episodes. I would have liked to see an episode really examining the incarceration issue and the abuse that for-profit prisons can go toward. And you know, it's not just the chain gangs. Any for-profit prison is an environment that tends to lend itself toward abuse, it seems like, at least in the States. So I think that would have been a really interesting thing to focus on. And then also the idea of offsetting your pollution to some other country because you didn't want to be the one getting your hands dirty. I think that would have been a great thing to explore.
Mm-hmm. And there should have been Darwin. He could have wrapped everything up very nicely.
True. Darwin should have had something to do. Maybe be the one to infiltrate the Osiris base.
That makes sense. Or maybe he was on vacation or something.
Maybe so. Even a dolphin needs a day off.
Especially after he's saving the world episode after episode.
I mean, Darwin, he would have known that they could have handled it without him.
True. Anyway, we got 1 episode left.
We do. The last episode called Weapons of War. With this being this, not just the season finale, but the series finale, I'm going to say that this is going to be an examination of the role of SeaQuest and the fact that it exists in this weird state between science and war. And obviously this episode or this season has really gone into the fact that this is a ship of war. And I think that maybe we'll get some examining of that. Maybe this is going to go the more high action octane route, which is just that Macronesia has made its own SeaQuest level of ship. And we're going to have SeaQuest fighting off against its true match for the season series finale. Josh just wants to know why did they fire me from SeaQuest? Bad work ethic.
Plus, he kept calling the captain the wrong name.
You know, Ironsides didn't mind it too much, but That Jonathan guy, he was real upset for some reason. Weird.
Go figure.
Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. So I'm being distracted because I've been watching Sliders recently, and each episode, I see the credits mention Jacob Epstein. And I'm like, is there any relation? So I've been trying to find out, and so far, I haven't gotten much in the way of figuring that out. It's driving me crazy. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Next week is going to be the finale. Hopefully we'll be able to start up Babylon 5 some point after that. I just don't know when it is right now. I do know that I am about to get pretty bombarded at work. So we are going to be taking a break from movie nights. Or movie night. No, we're going to be taking a break from Tuesday nights. Excuse me. Tuesday nights with Matthew. So thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and we will see you next week for the finale.
See you later.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.